Hello once again, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Hope everybody's having a great morning and day.
Hello, dear ones.
Yes. So we have seen blackouts and wondering what's going on with these blackouts as we see here near power grid blackout in Europe before the nationwide electricity collapse in Pakistan. And we could add to that Germany as well. And then, of course, we had Iran, which may be something completely different or maybe not. Iran and Pakistan are very close to each other, obviously. So, what's plunging millions of people in the dark around the world is the question. And, does it have anything to do with the sun? Does it have anything to do with, the minor geomagnetic storms we've been getting? We've had G1s, which technically shouldn't cause this.
Exactly. So, we go through the list of things that it could possibly be. And I know there's one thing that I think it might be. I probably can't mention it, but yeah.
Can you spell it?
Can I spell it?
Maybe.
Well, a type of ATACK.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Testing, probing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, testing and probing, perhaps on both apparent sides. And then again, most of you guys recognize even when there's sides, there's still strings that come to the same hands above those sides. So I know that you guys understand that. So the near power grid outbreak on January 8th cut Europe's power grid into a southeastern and a northwestern part for about an hour. It was described as one of the most critical near blackout situations since the region's last major blackout in 2006. A day after that, on January 9th, 2021, Pakistan and most of its 210 million inhabitants. We were just talking about this. Wow. So Pakistan, I was thinking they were still at about 175 million people, but they're at 210 million people. That's a pretty good sized country there. And they were plunged into darkness during several hours. And that was Pakistan's second major power breakdown since May 2018, when the country remained without electricity for more than 9 hours. And a disturbance in the synchronized European high-voltage power grid on Friday the 8th resulted in separation of European grid regions. Yeah, is this HACKING from the militaries? It very well could be.
Well, yeah. I mean, when we think about it, look at the times we're in. Look at all these coincidences that seem to keep happening.
They do. And, times are tense. That is absolutely for sure. We have so much going on right now globally. And, the problem is, what is natural and what is not. And I think it's impossible to really distinguish, at least for us lay people.
Well, yeah, I think that's extremely deliberate during these times, how hard it is to distinguish, what's enhanced and what is organic.
Yeah, it's very, very tough. And deadly windstorm rolls through the Pacific Northwest, more than 600,000 customers without power. We've talked about what has been setting up in this area here off the Pacific Northwest, below Alaska, off, again, the coast of Canada and Washington, Oregon. Kind of a Pineapple Express type system where you're going to see one system after another developing and flooding on in. We've seen the record highest and the record lowest pressures ever recorded in just a little time in the last couple of weeks. It's pretty wild.
It is wild. All we can do is kind of sit and watch and wait.
Spokane International Airport had a record wind gust of 71 miles an hour. And so you have over 430,000 customers losing electrical service in Washington State and Oregon. Pretty wild stuff. Fatality confirmed in North Idaho. A man was killed on Highway 97 after a tree came off the hillside adjacent to the highway and hit his vehicle. And a woman lost her life on Wednesday morning when a tree collapsed on her car at 27th Avenue and Post Street. Everywhere we go again, you're going to have your challenges everywhere you go. And that's, part of what we've been talking about. Where's safe? Well, anywhere you go, you're going to have issues anywhere, Pacific Northwest, obviously Cascadia is something that we really, worry about. But then you have Mount St. Helens, you have Mount Rainier, you have a lot of volcanoes that can come online as well. Potential for a lot of earthquake activity, potential for wildfires, and then potential for landslides when we do get these drenching rains as well. So anywhere you look, even though it's a great area in so many ways, you're going to have challenges. And so as of Thursday, January 14th, at least 136,808 people are still without power in Washington, 34,838 in Idaho, 21,556 in Oregon, and 1,657 in Montana, according to Power Outage USA. And its storm left a trail of damage, a lot of trees uprooted, blocking roads, and on top of houses as well. There's video here for you guys to see, as the ground gets saturated, especially like after dry weather where it dries everything out and then things become a tinderbox. Say you got wildfires going through and then all of a sudden you get flooding rains, and that's just plain old disaster.
That's just a huge mess.
It is, and it's a dangerous mess, really. The Pacific Northwest is known for rain, but not this much extreme atmospheric river wallops Pacific Northwest. So this is talking about that same thing where you're going to get one after another coming in. Now, over in the area where we have frequented the most, down through the more deserty regions, you've had the drought, and Colorado, which is such a beautiful, beautiful area. And you have other YouTubers that have decided to, call this place, home for these times, Rex and Diamond, for instance. I believe they're both in Pagosa Springs. I know Diamond's in Pagosa Springs. I think Rex is in Pagosa Springs too. But then again, Colorado had its record wildfires this year, and next year, what's that going to bring? We have many family members in Colorado, and they have told us that, it's record dryness, and they haven't seen this before, and they're kind of suspicious.
Well, yeah, we're all suspicious, especially in these days, these times when we don't know, exactly what's causing what for sure.
Yeah, and Colorado, as far as altitude, is the highest average altitude of the continental U.S. states. I believe New Mexico follows that. I'd have to double check that. But I know Colorado is number one as far as the highest average altitude. So, you're going to get a lot of snow, and then you'll get a lot of melt off, or you should get a lot of snow. But that's part of the problem, is they said that the snowpack wasn't as good as it has been. Then you get the melt off, which helps with things in the spring, but it can create dangerous conditions as well. And with everything that can be so manipulated in these days with the technology that we know about, let alone technology that we don't know about, it just, there's challenges everywhere.
There really, really is. And it depends on what your abilities are and what you can tolerate.
And when you have like places like Seattle that can have 25% of its annual rainfall by the 15th of January.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, think about that. 2 weeks into the year, and you could have a quarter of your rainfall already.
No, there's no denying that times are changing.
Yeah, so I got 3 articles here basically talking about the same situation with some videos there for you guys to check out. And, if we do get consistently more cold, like we've been talking about, wow, you could be buried in feet and feet and feet, maybe even, in meters and larger amounts of snow in the years to come.
Yeah, I know. We just got to keep an eye out.
We do. And so over in West Java, you got 10,000 homes damaged from landslides and floods. The death toll there has risen to 21, 19 people missing. It's just been everywhere we look, there's been these extremes.
I know, and every time I see these places, it makes me so sad because these are these people's livelihoods. That's all they have, and it's just ruined. It's gone.
Yeah, and a lot of Americans are flocking to Southeast Asia for the cost of living and opportunities, as well as, a lot of people are just leaving the country when available, when they can, because again, technically the borders are shut down. Interesting, people are leaving New York and California in droves, And I was just watching a video talking about all the people that are leaving the Northeast and heading to Florida. And then another article was talking about how the California exodus has sped up, which I don't doubt, because there's so many things going on, from all the laws in effect, which are making a lot of people unhappy with certain legislators, and we'll see if the GOV of Cali ends up getting recalled. That is a real possibility. Hypocrisy. We have seen hypocrisy on the biggest scale imaginable, and I can't think of, there's very few people that are more hypocritical than what we've seen out of the GOV of CAL,
It's pretty bad, really bad.
It is, but these are very hypocritical times. So Hong Kong records its coldest temperature since 1988. That was the year my daughter was born. That's the year I first clearly saw the Matrix, so to speak, where I saw rivers of energies when I was feeding her at 3 a.m. and she was maybe a couple days old. Large-scale crop damage reported. Christian over Ice Age Farmer, I saw, I get notifications for him, although we really don't get time to watch videos. For the most part, sometimes we'll have them playing in the background while we're working on making another video or answering emails. But he was saying how we have lost to the fine dining ware country this whole race for resources, and the economic battle as well. He's basically was saying it's kind of over already when you look at it. So large scale crop damage reported. This is a global situation that's going on, and we'll share with you guys what we've gotten recently in an upcoming video as far as what's coming regarding that fine dining ware country.
Yes, we do have information, so we'll put it all together and get back to you with that.
And thank you guys for being such code breakers. That's pretty exciting. You guys are great,
We so appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And it's so interesting, too, because we were watching another channel that occasionally we would watch in the past, more for ancient history info and stuff, but he was talking politics, and he was taking a walk out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and everything was in complete code, spelling things out, but instead of saying CH and two other letters and ends in A, he's giving you a complete anagram like A, H, I, C. And I'm thinking, wow, I think our code's easier, but...
Well, it's because that AI can learn like a child, so you got to watch your spelling.
Yeah, and that's so sad to think that's where we are now. Skiing the streets of Madrid, army drafted in to help after historic snowfall in Spain, and the record cold is persisting. So yeah, they're calling the army in. There is the thought that if we do fall into this deep grand solar minimum, that eventually the only place where we're going to be able to really grow food, unless we have mass scale projects of putting greenhouses in, underground partially, and a mass scale, and we could do this. It would just take a fraction of the military budget to do this. Then the only place really you're going to be able to survive is between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. That's it. Everybody's going to have to cram into that area. And, we ourselves are feeling inclined to head to the border, so to speak. And we're getting that message. And we've shared with you guys in the past that the thoughts were always we'd have about a decade to have to work through here in the US of A, even though I feel like I'd rather be somewhere else, because I know, the USA and the EU, including the UK, I think are going to have the hardest go of it in the next 4 years. The next 4 years are, I think, going to be tougher on these entities that we just talked about than any other countries in the world. And it's more POLI, you get it, right? That's really what I think is the biggest issue going on. So, yeah, epic snowball fights, that's all fun. And there's some new activity, and we see the new activity is in Kilauea. Kilauea is ongoing. These are still ongoing, but still they're changing, and so the one that caught my eye here is Pele. Yes, Larry Pele. And Larry is a Casey buff. So we're looking and wondering, because when Pele is going along with Vesuvius and Etna, or a combination thereof, that's when we know that some of the major changes are coming in, particularly Japan and California to where he says Nevada, will be partially underwater. So we're watching that very carefully, because then you have about 3 months, according to Casey. Now, again, timelines can't change.
Oh my gosh, they so can. It's just as the times change, the waves of energy change, and different things come into focus. So it's really difficult to put in a timeline on anything, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And, we still have family in Nevada. Most of Cindy's family is in Nevada and Idaho, and we'd love for them to leave. But, of course, people are going to do what they want to do. I think Idaho is better than Nevada on the whole. But, again, the other thing with Nevada is, you have the test site right there, which is a massive target in case of Ra. I guess we'll have to maybe we'll do words backwards. So in case of Ra, Nevada test site is a big, big, big target.
Yeah, it really is. It's just, it would be like a gold mine for somebody with any means to harm it.
Well, we talked about those rods of God.
Yeah.
Now, they could go deep down into the crust. So something along those lines could theoretically take out, all that underground, whatever's down there, and, whoever is down there, whether it's the lizard people, the tall gray guys, the tall white guys, the little gray guys. It's probably all of the above.
Yeah, most likely.
So we have a 30-year-old climate prediction that proves to be a load of bunk, which, this was from the Canberra Times back in 1988, talking about sea level rising and talking about, the Maldives and all these islands that will probably no longer be there, maybe as early as 1992 or we have seen that we have been completely misled. Thank you, Al Gore. But it's not just, it's not just Al Gore. It's more than that. It's all the official powers that be that we've learned. When you're studying a textbook, you might as well recognize its history. Again, it's his story. Whoever's given us the official narrative is telling us a story.
Well, I think dear Mr. Gore just probably made the most money out of it.
Yeah. Yep. Wow, that was another election that was a chaos event. So mistaken identity, a presumed supernova, is actually something much rarer. Actually, what they say it is a star getting torn to shreds by a black hole.
Wow, that's so sad, kind of.
Sounds kind of scary, doesn't it?
It sounds violent.
Yeah, this is from Carnegie Silence, and silence. We'd like to silence the. Let's see, what would elite backwards be? Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But Carnegie Science, and again, Carnegie Stories. As we know, all the official stuff is stories. So, even at that, this is what they say it is. And, how can you trust official data when it's been so obfuscated and so distorted?
You can't. You really just need to learn to go within.
There you go. That's it. Then that's what we've been pushing. Go within, develop your intuition so that when somebody's talking to you, you could look at them and just know, oh, they're giving me a load of...
Oh, yeah. Well, that's almost like, that's so bittersweet to know when people are lying to you, because it can really take a toll on the soul. It's like, I know, but they don't know that I know, but I know, and it hurts sometimes.
And, we've talked about how science now has machines. And, I know an energy worker up in Chicago that has a really expensive machine, costs thousands of dollars, that can show people's auras, show, where the chakras are. So this is a reality. And the other reality is more and more people can see energy. More and more people are seeing the life force, which almost at times looks like fish, tiny little fish swimming in a river. But the river is the air, it's the ether all around us. More and more people can see auras, can see energies. And when you develop it, take a little time to practice. It's just a matter of looking at something, letting your eyes kind of relax their focus so that you're almost looking past it. And then you'll start to see the energy around an object. And just go with it. Relax. And you'll start to even perhaps see colors. I've been able to make out like 2 or 3, sometimes 4 different layers to the aura where you can see the colors. Now, when somebody's talking and all of a sudden the color shifts, from say a nice golden light and it starts to get red, they're starting to give you a line of bunkum, so to speak. And when more people develop this ability and you see your politicians telling you something and all of a sudden their energy shifts, well, it's going to be impossible to keep the truth from us because, we're going to know that they are lying to us. And of course, they know this. This is part of why everything is going on right now. And they want to shut down your ability to have these abilities increase, which is a part of the natural progression of things and something that most humans had in the past.
Well, I think that's going to be a sign of changing times because everybody's going to be able to pick up these senses from everybody else. And in a way, 'cause it's kind of like mind reading, body reading. You're going to have to wear your feelings on your sleeve. You're going to have to become transparent. And if you're being deceitful, people are just going to know. So it's going to kind of force us all to become more honest and real with each other, I feel.
And, I'm more visual like that. And we're visual where I see things with my 2 eyes, but also because it's emerging with the 3rd eye. But other people will just get these impressions, like Cindy gets waves of energy, which gets interpreted. And also, lately I've been hearing things too, which is wild. So, of course, we have clairvoyance, we have clairaudience. That's when you can actually hear things. And these are all part of the cities of yoga, which means superpowers, but can be achieved by anybody when you put in enough practice, enough time into meditation and things like Qigong and yoga, etc. But in these times, they're going to become commonplace. If we go a generation out, the people that are alive a generation from now, it's going to be almost like Marvel superheroes type thing. Not necessarily flying physically through the air or lifting cars off of people with 2 fingers, but just the intuition and the psychic abilities.
Right. It's going to become commonplace. And, that's a good thing. So, those people that are developing it, I suggest don't freak out. Just write about it and learn about it and understand it. There's a whole plethora of information out there right now where you could learn about these different experiences you're having. So it's just going to happen to everybody.
It is. So guys, we want to make sure that you're subscribed, have the bell clicked. Hopefully you'll get a notification or 2. We are also on Brighteon and Bitchute, which are growing fast. And actually Brighteon's view numbers have been beating YouTube's view numbers lately, which again is an indicator of how things really go in this world. Thank you so much for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Anybody needs to reach out to us and set up an appointment, you can reach us at EEARTS@protonmail.com or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. Stay prepared. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.